Hey there, comic book friends and fiends. Welcome to a Comics Curing Cancer edition of Only Slab.
I want to take my hat off to Rob.
None of this C3 stuff that we've been doing this weekend. I mean, obviously today's Friday, but there's a gamut of other programming going on. And it is all due to Mr. Rob Fat Stax of Comics.
And congrats, Rob. Really great job you did.
Don't miss the one on Rob's Fat Stacks tomorrow night.
And Rob Fat Stax was in charge of it.
The event of the year, none other than C3 Comics Curing Cancer. This is where Rob Fat Stax.
What he did for Comics Curing Cancer, which is an amazing job.
Comics Curing Cancer. So thank you, Rob.
As we always say, until next time, collect what you want. Don't listen to anybody, including me. I'm just a fat man with a fat stack of comics and a.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to MJ Comix. I'm your host, James Mack. And tonight I want to welcome to the channel Jonathan. Oh, sorry, I mean Rob.
If you know, you know.
If you know the joke, you get it. But no, I want to introduce Rob Fat Stax Comics. Thank you so much for joining me tonight, buddy. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
No, it's all right. Anytime. I've been a big fan of yours for a while, and I really enjoy your content. And you're a really super great guy for the comic book community here on YouTube and elsewhere. So thank you very much for joining us.
Well, thank you.
I appreciate everybody who's watching so far as well. So what I'll do is if you've got any questions for Rob, put them in the chat and we'll get to them at some point during the show. But you had the in joke for that Jonathan intro was basically you had your usual Saturday show earlier with the patron of comic
art. Yeah. This is handle.
And his name is Jason. To be fair, it is difficult to try and remember someone's name when they're known as like a handle.
Yes.
So I will give you that. And you know,
that's why I make my
Jason,
handle
Jonathan,
simple.
It's quite, it's
Rob.
quite
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
But that honestly, I was chuckling earlier, and my wife said, "Oh, what's going on?" Still, Rob keeps getting this guy's name wrong. That's hilarious.
Misnaming somebody.
Yeah.
But hey, I got his pronouns right.
Yeah, you did 100%. But I just want to also wish you as well, and if anybody isn't aware, it is your 28th wedding anniversary. So congratulations.
Yeah, heck with my wife. I came here to be with you.
Of course, yeah. But you are going out for a lovely dinner later on, so I hope you guys look forward to that.
Any excuse not to cook.
I hear you are, to be fair, a barbecue expert. If that's an understatement.
I wouldn't say expert because the trophies all are in the amateur division. So I would say that I'm a bit of an aficionado and I know my way around a smoker or two.
Nice.
Or
Very
the
nice.
all five that I own.
Yeah. Oh man. And not to put a downer on it, but you mentioned, I heard you say this on Legion's show on Friday, but you mentioned it earlier as well about the recent news about your dog. I'm very sorry to hear. We lost our dog about 2 years ago, and it's heartbreaking. So I know how difficult it is. But
yeah, I had a couple others that had passed away recently, and I wasn't even ready necessarily for this dog necessarily, but my youngest during COVID needed a companion and needed for their mental health, and so it's only 4 years, and it's like, oh my god, it happens. But thank you.
That's why I'm really sorry to hear that. But speaking of cancer, Comics Curing Cancer, I have put the link in the chat. So if anyone wants to donate, the link is there. Really appreciate if anyone does tonight. But we've got a few people in the chat. Just say a quick hello to them if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. It's YouTube law.
It's YouTube law. Yeah, it's all about the interaction. We have Derek. Thank you so much for joining us, Derek. Really appreciate you, buddy. We have Mike Cecilia in the house. Hello. We've got Cliff on comics. Cliff, very good to see you, buddy. JSS Brooklyn. So good to see you. Good Saturday, everybody. We have my darling wife, Gemma Mack. Thank you so much for joining
Nice.
us and watching. Your wife, I understand, is actually on another stream somewhere.
Yeah, she's doing some Wheel of Time probably, because that's usually what she's streaming is Wheel of Time stuff. She's a big fan for a long time.
Wow.
Actually,
That's cool.
almost as long as I've known her.
We've got Dr. Von Hoot. Thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much for sharing the story as well. Think, Rob, as you and MJ are married to saints and happy anniversary again, does your better half share your passion for collecting? If not, how do you both make it work? It's all about compromise, I imagine, in a working relationship.
To be honest, when we got married, she brought long boxes into the collection, and
Oh,
we moved long boxes around for years that were hers. The whole time she never really acquired new books, but we
yeah.
had older books of hers that we carried around for years and years and years. And then when I finally got really back into it all, it was opening up her long boxes and cracking them open and rebagging and boarding them all and getting them
Oh,
integrated into the collection.
yeah. Brilliant. Cracking them open and rebagging them is such a ball ache of a thing to do, isn't it? To be fair, but
It's therapeutic.
yeah. We got Wayne Deacon in the house. Thank you so much for joining us, Wayne. We've got Kingdom of Nerds. Thank you so much for joining. I will save that question there. We've got Pete from Triple G Comics. Thank you so much for joining us. Pete is a big fan of yours.
I'm a big fan of his.
He's been on your channel for
Vice versa. Yeah, we've both been on. We've dabbled on each other's channels a handful of times. Yeah.
We've got Bearded Comic Show. Thank you so much for joining us. We've got JSS with another question. I will save that one as well. We have I Have Comic Issues. Thank you again for so much for joining us.
Yes.
We've got Kenneth in the house. Really appreciate you for stopping by. JSS Brooklyn literally asks questions that I've already got typed out here on the left, but
that's great. Great minds think alike.
He's dropped the link in the chat, but I think I've pinned it to the chat as well. So if anyone wants to donate,
that's the direct one. You can always go to comicscuringcancer.org. It redirects you to that.
Oh, brilliant.
It's all just a matter of what's the easy to remember one versus
yeah.
It's a lot easier to market and remember comicscuringcancer.org versus the e-giving /
We got DJ Links in the house. Thank you so much for joining us, DJ.
Mr. Links.
Mike Cecilia said that, oh man, that's so sad, Rob. We have our pups and foster as well. It's heartbreaking to lose them. Bless you for giving them a wonderful life. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Folks, you can donate here. And we've also got Fuzzy Dunlop. Thank you so much for joining us, Fuzzy. But Rob, you are, when I think of the comic book community, you are one of a standout member to me. And that's not only for you.
That.
It's not only, it's welcome. It's not only for your incredible work on Comics Curing Cancer, but in general, like your calming presence, your generous giveaways that you do. I mean, I've just watched a giveaway, and it was like there was a Spider-Woman issue number 1 from 1976, is it, or whatever it is?
Yeah, that was in there. Yeah.
What a giveaway.
So crazy stuff sometimes comes out of that box.
Yeah. Amazing. But you're helping out with the Comic Book Community Awards, your super chats and monetization of your channel. The proceeds of that go to Comics Curing Cancer and charity. And you also have one of the best, I think, live shows going on for comic book content is Only Slabs. But you also have one of the best mustaches out there, so.
Well, I appreciate that. It's often nominated and never wins.
No, it's absolutely beautiful, buddy. But I just got to give a shout out to Synthetic Panels. They did that little intro at the beginning.
Nice, thank you.
So spoiler alert, but I had reached out to members of the community if they wanted to say a few words or anything. But it was a last minute thing, to be fair, and synthetic panels was really kind of the only one that was quickly made something out there, because obviously they're AI, I guess. The humans really struggled with getting back to me, but I really appreciate that. But the first question, Rob, really simple. You can't mess this up. Who is Rob Fatstax? Who are you?
Jonathan.
Jonathan. Who is Jonathan?
Oh, wait, that's wrong. I messed it up already. Aside from being a fat man with a fat stack of comics and a fat opinion, I'm not quite sure how else really to open it. I just fancy myself just as an average guy, really. I mean, I don't think of anything special. I don't not like a super collector. I didn't grow up a comic book collector. I'm late to this. I was kind of later to the story on it.
Well,
But,
how old were you?
I didn't start collecting until after high school. I started university.
Okay.
Yeah. But I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day, I'm just an easygoing guy. I like my coffee black. I like my bourbon aged, and I like my barbecue cooked slow and low.
Okay, cool. So where did the name Rob Fatstax come from? Is that someone that you thought of previously prior to doing
No,
YouTube?
that's a name. That's a question I've been asked before, and I really struggled to think about it. It was really just like, it's the whole channel name is
Yeah.
Rob's Fat Stacks O Comics.
Yes.
Right. So it's really more fat stacks of comics,
Yeah.
and they belong to me. But over time, I realized as I was progressing in the channel, I decided to stick with it, and the channel was growing. I realized that was a lot to ask people to remember or say on a regular basis. So it just kind of became
Rob
Fat Stacks and Rob Fat Stacks. And it's simple, it's easy, and it just kind of goes, and it kind of describes it. I mean, I'm always constantly unboxing books. There's stacks of comics all over the place, so
you've got some pretty impressive books behind you, to fair to say that you're not a serious collector, but
well, I mean, I'm I mean, there's people out there.
I mean,
I'm above average.
Yeah, you've got. I mean, your show only slabs. You have like incredible people come on to show off and show.
Right, I sure got some real serious collectors on that show sometimes.
Yeah,
and that's the great thing about that show. You get the variety from the beginning collector to the collector who's obviously been doing it for a long time and has plenty of money to be able to acquire some amazing pieces. It's a great concept.
Yeah. So were you, prior to doing Instagram, did you have were you on not Instagram, prior to YouTube, were you on Instagram or anything like that, or were you in the comment sections of watching videos and stuff?
I mean, YouTube, obviously, it's been around for a long time, and I did stuff on YouTube, but most of the stuff I did was not public facing stuff. It was stuff that was done and generated for scouts. My son, my family has a rich heritage within scouting. And
cool.
And I was while my son and my youngest were growing up, we were involved as leaders in their units and stuff. And so I did a lot of content that was created for the unit's individual website, or for stuff that was sharing videos that were taken at events privately amongst the family members and stuff of the unit type stuff. And so that's what I did most of the stuff. And for the most part, I was just a Facebook guy, and mostly Facebook. It was mostly just my private friends and people I actually knew. I'd met at some point, whether I went to school with them, whether they were family or something. I wasn't about getting myself out there and being known anywhere. Somewhere during like a lot of people during COVID, I think maybe a little bit before COVID, I'd started watching some of the big channels, like watching the Comic Toms and the gateway channels,
the gateway drugs to comic book
right
YouTube.
Exactly, that because I was collecting at that point comics again, and with my son, and I was watching some of those things. Well, not a big hanging out in live chats or anything. I was just watching some pre-recorded videos occasionally.
Yeah. Yeah.
But because most of my time was taken up playing video games, I was a gamer.
Oh, cool.
I was, I for damn near probably 14 to 18 years or something, but playing 2 different online Star Wars games, because Star Wars is like my nerddom.
Okay.
And so I was playing Star Wars Galaxies, and then later on Star Wars The Old Republic online MMOs, and I would spend all damn free
Wow.
hours, 8 to 10 hours a day in those virtual worlds playing with friends. That's what I did.
Yeah. Were
I
you
started
streaming
this-
or anything with them, or were you just?
No, we're just in there playing stuff. I didn't care about any of that stuff. It was just later on I started having I had medical issues that made it really difficult to utilize the computer and do that kind of gaming and stuff that creeped up because of excessive computer use.
Oh, okay.
And then COVID came, and realized that as much as I didn't fancy myself a people person, that you did need to have some contact outside of your individual home. And that's where I just decided, I saw some people had posted some videos of unboxing stuff. I said, I can do that.
Yeah.
Let me try it.
Yeah.
And that's where the earliest videos of me, like in my garage, like playing on using my video, I think my company's web platform, video conferencing platform, to record videos so that I could, because I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah. So the 19th of April 2020 is, I think, your first upload.
The first public, the first of the public
public
videos that are tied to this. Yeah, that would make sense.
PGX unboxing.
Yeah.
Big fan
of PGX.
Yeah.
I was at the time.
Yeah.
I don't have a major issue with them today. I very honestly believe that all the grading companies have a valid purpose and are fine. I think that PGX ultimately has a bad rap today based on stuff that was old in their past. But the reality of the situation is their cases aren't great.
Yeah.
And I, having had over 400, close to 400 slabs done with PGX, I think I've had a decent sample size to speak that when I say I had a 15 to plus % rework rate, that's a legitimate number, as opposed to somebody who sent 10 books in, right? And that's a pretty high need to have books reworked because of issues that would come out of there. So I eventually moved on, although they were so cheap. That's what made it easy as an easy guy early on to get, especially modern books, just to throw them in there and get them done. They're so cheap compared to the other guys.
Yeah. One of your one of the videos that I really enjoyed of yours, I can't remember how long ago it was, but you had sent off some PGX previously graded with PGX to CGC, and that, to be fair, the results were pretty consistent. I thought it was going to be quite off.
Yeah, the conversion. I actually have another set of books. Actually, it's off right now for another installment in that. I recently sent off another set that's at CGC now it's being redone and regraded from PGX over to CGC. Yeah,
that's quite incredible. We got a couple more people just to say hello to in the chat. We've got John's Comics with Kids. John, thank you so much,
John.
Raise a glass for him. We've got Adrian, Actual Dracula. Thank you so much. Good afternoon. We've got Austin LeMay. Austin, thank you for joining. Let's see if there's anybody else. Pete said from Triple G Comics said, I've watched a lot of YouTube, a lot of interesting personalities and shows of late. When I think of Rob, I think of one word: integrity. Rob represents the best of us. I told you.
That's very kind, sir.
Very kind. Are you trying to get some tears out of him here, Pete? Is that what you're trying to do? That's my job.
I mean, I appreciate that, because if nothing else, I do believe that somewhat I'm a little bit old school
Yeah.
And in fact, I believe that if I shake your hand, I'll look you in the eye and I tell you something, that's what it is, right? And be a straight shooter. I understand that sometimes I may say something wrong. I could be wrong. I have opinions, and my opinions are not always correct, despite what I may tell my kids. But and I think that's important for anybody to be able to know. Hey, look, you speak your heart, speak your true meaning. Don't go off the rails, and put out. That's the old adage, right? Put out the golden rule of put out what you want, come back at you. All those types of things, and that allows you just. I think people pick up on that you don't have malice necessarily towards people,
Yeah.
and that you admit when you made a mistake, and that's fine.
Yeah, I 100% agree. JSS Bookings put the link for what was that going off here? For Pete's channel. Dr. Von Hoot, not a serious collector, says top 10 on CGC census candidate.
Well, that's so
breaking news.
So not the census, it's a registry, but I mean it's confusing.
Yeah.
So there is one registry, and we're talking about the Eternals registry. For anyone, if people have been watching, I've been working on my CGC registry for the Eternals, and I did a video on it recently.
Yeah.
And we were talking about it and about how it's really meant to get you to do more stuff, spend more money with CGC. Very well done, I might say. And looking at it, it's got me to the point where I know that the one book I need to get, I can get that book. And then if I upgrade one book just from a 9.6 to a 9.8, it would get me the number of points based on the way their points are applied. And I can move to the top 10 on a registry. And it's a perfect example where I talk about this gamification of how they do that. Gets you to manipulates you to spend money on their product, because I was perfectly fine with a 9.6 graded copy of Eternals #1.
Yeah.
But now it's in my head.
You need to get that 9.8 just to
if I get a 9.8 of just that one book, I could be a top 10. And does that mean anything?
Wow.
No. Other than a friend of mine, Dave, still only 35 cents is in the top 10, and it would allow me to actually move just barely ahead of him.
Oh, for the same collection, is it?
Yeah. So from within my own friendly thing, a little bit of that old male.
Yeah, a bit of competitiveness.
Let me puff my chest out, spread my tail feathers, type of thing.
Yeah,
but beyond that, I mean, it's But thank you.
No, I was gonna say you had Dave on. Was it last weekend? It was a good show.
Yes, last weekend.
Yeah, great show. We've got I have comic issues. It says that Rob, I am a Eagle Scout and I was a professional scout for about 11 years.
Phenomenal. Excellent. Wow. Yeah. My son was a 4th generation scout. And I was a scout as a kid, and then later on Cub Master, Scoutmaster, all those things for years. I was a commissioner. So I was on the volunteer side as commissioner. For people who know, that helps to train. Specifically, I was roundtable commissioner, so I was helping to teach other scouters and stuff like that, and taught at Scouting University and stuff. But recently, I'm still involved in scouting tangentially. I'm not directly involved with them, mostly because of the local unit. We've had some issues that I disagree with that caused me to go elsewhere. And it's really nothing like political or anything. It was just simply that they kept going to the same volunteers over and over again, and started assuming my participation and helping out rather than going out and getting new volunteers. And I got tired of that and said, forget it. And so now I'm doing other stuff, but I think it's a great program. I think that it gets it's just phenomenal what it can do for boys' self-esteem and stuff. The program is really, really a great program.
Yeah, I think it builds up kids' confidence, and
I should say children. It's not just boys here in America anymore. It's both gender, or boys and girls, and everyone, all inclusive now. Sorry.
Cool. Austin LeMay has said that he bought his first PGX slab from you.
That is true. Yeah,
remember what that was?
I do. It was Strange Academy #1, the Peach Momoko Virgin variant.
Oh, cool.
So the the super big expensive book out of all the books that was in that run when those things got. I had both the trade dress and the Virgin variant, and I decided to sell the Virgin variant because the trade dress I had triple signed.
Wow.
So I decided to sell it, and Austin jumped all over it, and so there you go.
Speaking of signatures, Jason from Patron of Comic Art, there's some of those books earlier were just incredible.
Yeah.
Great show. We got Chris Bell in the house. Thank you so much for joining us, Chris. When I think of Rob, I think of mustache goals. I wish I could grow a mustache like that. Pete saying same as well. CGC, CBCS, PGX, EGS, all good in their way, regardless of individual criticisms.
Agreed.
Definitely. Let's have a look, see if there's anyone else here. Join. Oh, we've got Dave. Thank you so much for joining us, Dave. I'm still only 35 cents. Lord Robert is live, 100%. Right, okay. So we talked a bit about it already, but what made you start YouTube? You mentioned about starting up during the pandemic. I think one of my first videos where I came across you, Rob, you were doing like a live stream on your channel with like a mystery box battle.
Okay.
And I think it was like for one of the Dorkeries. Do you remember them?
Yeah. The
Dorkeries.
Dorkery box battles. Yeah. I
Yeah.
think it was like DJ Links and I and
DJ Links, yeah. And that was literally the first, where on YouTube you can see the little red line where it tells you've watched a video up to a certain point. That was the first video I came across of yours, and it was I loved it. I thought it was incredible.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Yeah, the Dorkeries put out. So I had put out at the time some really crazy mystery boxes. And it was the first time that that was the second box I'd bought from them, and so it was the first time I had spent like multiples of hundreds of dollars. Yeah, because I think it was like a $400 or something mystery box, and I had never spent that kind of money on a mystery box or thought I would. But their past stuff and stuff I had seen them do gave me enough confidence to want to do that. And DJ and I, we did that battle. That we had the Dorkeries came on for that, and then I was able to get them on. And then we also had, so we had some of our friends come on to be judges.
Yeah,
they kind of set it up like it was like a boxing match, round by round boxing match type of thing. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
It was really good.
I won, by the way. DJ Links laid at my feet, trounced by my great victory.
Is DJ Links a bit sore about that? Is he?
No, he's not, because the book that made me win is not worth that very much anymore.
No, but that was like easily like 3+ years ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, great video. I love the Dorkeries. Is YouTube to you now still as exciting as it first was when you first came on?
Yeah, you know what? I think I'm really happy with where it is. So I've never got into it to I didn't want to come into it to become a celebrity or anything like that. I just wanted to share what I was doing, right, and connect with some people, like-minded people, in a time when we couldn't connect with people. So it was kind of cool from that aspect. And I really kind of think I've got the channel settled for the most part where I'm pretty happy. I have a consistent schedule. It's just enough it's just enough stuff to keep people engaged, but not so much stuff that people feel like it's a chore to have to watch it, or I feel like it's a chore to have to create the content. Obviously Only Slabs, I think of as the flagship of the channel. But ultimately, in the day, it's still just a channel. From when I started it to today, it's still a channel that it's about the joy of collecting comics. And it was me sharing my books, the stuff that I was collecting, just putting it out there. The fact that anybody was at all interested in watching me or seeing what somebody else was collecting, I thought was fascinating, and I really appreciated it. And then, Only Slabs became a show that was about bringing collectors on and showcasing them. So it's about collecting, and that's where I like to keep its focus. There's a lot of people out there who do phenomenal jobs, doing interviews, doing reviews of comics themselves, doing all kinds of stuff about comic history or how to's. So many people out there who do that well, that I don't feel any need to try to go down goes down those side paths and do that stuff. I am what I am, and people will either enjoy it or not, and that's fine. I'm really doing it for me. I'm not really doing it for anybody else. But I appreciate everybody who does come along for the ride, and I'm dumbfounded every single time another freaking subscriber joins the channel, signs up. I'm just mentally still don't grasp it, but thank you guys all.
That's incredible, because you're sitting at 2,500 subscribers, I think, is it?
Yeah. I think we just went over 2,500 recently. I think we're so I mean, it's I'm not obviously doing anything to go out there and try to grab anybody. I'm not doing a billion shorts to try to play the shorts game to manipulate it. I'm not paying to promote any videos. I don't care about any of that stuff. I wasn't even gonna, when the channel hit back when I was doing early on, the only it's the old monetization rules where you 1,000 plus these watch hours and stuff. And I was blown away. I kept hearing people about trying to hit watch hours, that they had the subscribers, they were trying to hit watch hours. I always had the watch hours, and it was trying to get to the subscribers to get for me to monetize. But I always said, for the longest time, I said, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to monetize the channel. I don't care. It's not what I'm trying to do this about. And it wasn't until I had a couple friends that, especially Small Town Collectibles, who's no longer generating content, but he really he sat down with me. He's like, dude, why are you going to just let YouTube take the money? He says, give it to charity or something.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, all right, that makes sense. I can do that. And, that's, kind of what I did. I mean, I don't need the money. I mean, YouTube doesn't pay. If you don't know, people, YouTube does not pay unless you have like millions of subscribers. It really, I don't know what I would do with the 19 cents a month from ad revenue. Because I can't even buy a postage stamp. It would take me 3 months to buy a single postage stamp with the ad revenue. I mean, so let's.
You were, along with again Pete from Triple G Comics, are a few channels who obviously donate the proceeds of monetization and super chats to charity. So fair play to you guys. My proceeds literally just go straight into paying for streaming and Adobe and stuff like that. I don't use it on anything else really. So,
and that's fair. Those things are, God knows, these streaming things and stuff, they're not cheap anymore.
No. StreamYard have really monopolized the streaming software.
And they took advantage of it. Now,
yep, they took absolute advantage of it. Taylor has said that you now spend $400 a week on mystery boxes. Is he exaggerating that?
Well, yeah. I mean, if you look at my recent videos and see how many mystery boxes I've opened recently, I haven't opened up hardly any. The mystery box game has really kind of tapered off. It's not that I don't still enjoy them. I enjoy mystery boxes, but I don't want garbage mystery boxes. If I'm going to spend money on it, I want ones that are fun.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, at the end of the day, look, every person who criticizes mystery boxes is 100% right. If you just took that money and instead bought the books you want, of course, get it. I mean, there is something fun about, dropping $60 on a box and getting $100 book out of it or something, if you're that lucky. Granted, that doesn't happen up here. It's almost never happens, but they're fun to do. And so if I can get a box that has the right mix of books, that I'll go ahead and I'll pick them up. Stuff that, knowing that I don't resell hardly anything. I do have you know, an eBay and a short box, but it's usually stuff like, okay, I picked up I upgraded a slab. Let me, you know, if I'm not giving the slab away to Comics Curing Cancer, every once in a while I sell one
Yeah.
to put back into my collection,
Collection.
right? But other than that, I'm not going to spend time doing a $5 book and whatever via eBay, which is why I started like the giveaway box.
Yeah.
And so a lot of the stuff goes into the mystery box. The mystery box stuff goes into the giveaway bins and stuff, as well as gets books that get donated to charity, because I also donate books to a couple different charities.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, $400 a week on a mystery box, and I wish I had that kind of allowance.
Those kind of beans. So I mean, mystery boxes, that they were a gamble, aren't they? Let's be honest.
If you're trying to like recently, for example, like there's several people, but we were recently doing like the Bry's packs, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say. I was gonna ask you what your opinion on
that. You can
comic
get the super grail type things. That's just like, to me, it's just like buying a lottery ticket.
Yeah.
You know, you're not gonna win. Someone else is gonna win.
Yeah.
That's what happens with the lottery, right? I mean, every once in a while you can't win, you don't play, whatever, blah blah. But if I don't, when I look at those packs, so to me, I assume, forget it, I'm not winning. So is there anything in that pack that I want?
Yeah.
Because if there's something in there I want, even if it doesn't reach the value of the pack, then it's more worth of gamble to me, because I know I'm still getting something out of
Something.
it that I
Yeah.
want.
Yeah.
In this case, there was nothing in those packs that I wanted. So
Yeah.
I didn't drop anything on any of those.
Yeah.
Other times I'll do a mystery box. I'll know, I can, especially if people do previews or people who do, you know, like when Jack B does a custom mystery box where, you know, you send him a list of stuff you're interested in. He builds a mystery box around.
Yeah.
Those types of the boxes. Yeah. I'm super into those. People like me recently, the mystery boxes I just dropped were, a little bit ago, when I was like, okay, the box is $60 or whatever. So it's not a high dollar investment. And it was all older books.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
I don't, if I want a bunch of Unknown Comics variants, I can just go buy them on Unknown Comics. They're practically giving them away. So
Yeah.
I don't need to buy a mystery box full of them.
Yeah. So the comic packs, then I mean, like the Whatnot comic packs as well. You don't interest you either?
No. I mean, every once in a while there's one that maybe sounds interesting, but I stay off of Whatnot as much as possible. It's very easy to spend too much money on Whatnot.
Yeah.
And so I like to be more controlled in that, because I do spend a fair amount of money. You know, people who watch my channel, they see the content. I'm constantly opening boxes. Obviously, I'm spending money, but I have to be smart about that. And Whatnot, it's very easy to lose track of it. So I tend to stay off of Whatnot.
Yeah. I dip in and out of Whatnot. I do tend to buy stuff really that I don't really need, because just so that I think that's a good price, or you know, you kind of get.
I can't let that person have it for $3. I better pay $5.
Yeah. But yeah, I've got I've got a video coming up maybe next week, hopefully, but I actually won Comic Tom's giveaway on his last stream, so
nice.
I'll be talking about that. We've got ABZ Comics in the house. Evening, thank you so much for joining us. We've got Sylvia Jeffress. I live in 1505. Well, I don't know what that's about. That seems like a bot. Apologies, everybody. I have comic issues. What time do you have to wake up on Friday to be part of Legion Lair? No, this is notorious. Like this, you know, that starts up at about midday for me. So what time is that for you?
It starts at, so on the East Coast of the United States, it's 7:30 in the morning. So for me, I live on the West Coast of the United States. If you don't know, the United States is a fairly large continent.
Just a bit.
with multiple time zones. So it's 4:30 in the morning. The show goes live for me, and so I typically wake up about 3:45 in the morning, so that I have time to make sure I have my coffee and
Yeah.
look this pretty, and
Yeah.
yeah, and also have time for when if I accidentally hit snooze on that alarm for the second alarm to go off and wake me up.
Speaking of Legion's Lair, to be fair, like, so talking about a bit earlier when we are talking about is it still as exciting for you as it was from day one? For me, like, I really enjoy doing these one-on-one interviews because
Mhm.
my previous experience being with you on a live is like me just jumping on Legion's Lair. And I find it really difficult when there's so many people to communicate. Partly because I don't want to be rude, like butting in or anything like that, And I kind of feel like it's not my because it's not my channel. I can't really
Mhm.
interject and stuff like that. But I like these one-to-ones because I feel like I get to know people a lot more. Do you feel like the same with you when you go on to Only Slaps and stuff like that?
Yeah, they're very different shows,
Yeah.
obviously. I think, these types of interviews are fun because you really do, and that's where I see Only Slabs is show where I always talk about it. It's like we get to know the collector
Yeah.
through their collection. We're not
Yeah.
doing the traditional interview where I'm asking where did you come from and all these other things, which are fun. They're fun to do and fun to get to know people but it's a different way of getting to know somebody through the books that they decide that they want to show off and showcase.
Yeah.
And the hangout channels, I find them so fascinating that people, not so much from being on them, I mean, look, I think COVID changed everything, right? We got used to video chatting with stuff, and I have, for my professional life, half my team is in Romania, that I manage. And then,
Okay.
the rest of them are spread throughout the United States. So
Yeah.
we are constantly conducting video meetings and conferences and stuff, including I mandate, virtual water cooler time where they're not allowed to actually talk about work. They just have to chit chat and stuff because that's part of what connects you to the people you work with that you lose in a broken up when you're not working in the same office building, is to build that camaraderie. And
Yeah.
so, and it works because my team is the longest tenured team without any attrition and everything else of anybody in our company by far. But so to me, it's just like going to these hangouts, like Legion Lair or Mad Spidey stuff. It's like, hanging out at the bar with your friends, going to the pub.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just like at the pub or whatever, people sitting next to you can listen in and hear what's going on. Only different, and then sometimes you got that nosy kid at the table next to you that interjects into your conversation. You guys are talking about some football, and all of a sudden he says, Manchester United sucks," and you go, "What the hell? How
Uh,
dare you?"
Yeah.
Whatever.
That
You
is
know,
that is literally my team. So thank you.
and so it's kind of like that.
Yeah.
These hangouts and stuff. I find them fascinating that the number of people that watch them on a regular basis. And I know some people who they do them just they have it in the background. They're doing other stuff, and I do it every once in a while. I'll put one on in the background, or I'll go
Yeah.
sit
Yeah.
in I'll sit in my recliner and put one up on the big TV and just kind of doom scroll at the same time while it's playing or whatnot. So it's so weird. I think it's something that I think 10 years ago we would have been like,
Yeah.
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 But now it's no big deal. People do it and it's fun. But yeah, you're not gonna get to know anybody too deeply there unless it's consistently over time.
Yeah.
And so I do show up on some of these same ones on a regular basis over time. And you do get to know certain things. You build up certain friendships, but they are always problematic with people talking over each other.
Yeah.
There's always a few of us that have etiquette that will try to wait until there's the
Yeah.
proper
Yeah.
time to interject. And there's some that don't care. And then there's some that you think they don't care. In reality, they do, but there's latency issues
Yeah.
with the digital world, and that latency issue causes really more of the talking over each
Yeah.
other
Well, I
than
think,
anybody
yeah,
else.
definitely. Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, I listen to a lot of stuff like live streams when I'm either driving or I'm doing some work or whatever. But I think with when there's multiple people on screen and you got that, sometimes you talk about like a topic and then like a new person comes onto the screen and then that's not just like get back please for the
I
life
wanted
of
to hear about that. Yeah, come on.
yeah, that's my only gripe with it. But I really enjoy Legion's Lair. I enjoy listening into that. But you do a lot of the. If Mark can't be there, you actually kind of like look after the stream, don't you? To be fair,
I have control on the. It's one of several channels that I have controls on, that I show up on, because Mark and I are really good friends. Obviously, since he works with us on Comics Curing Cancer, he's one of the three-headed monster and stuff.
Yep.
And so yeah, I'm there for that show reliably. Although this last week I was actually behind a little bit. But generally I'm there pretty punctual. And so if he's not there, I fire it up without him and we go, and then he's there and he has to run his kids off to school or something.
yeah.
We'll
That's
run
good.
it
That's
off.
really good.
Just keep it flowing until I actually have to work and go to a meeting. And then it's like, okay, I'm out of here because I have to actually earn a paycheck.
Do you remember the first ever live stream that you jumped on off not on your channel? Where you built up the courage and you're like, right, I'm gonna do this. Either if it's someone just dropping the link in the chat or somebody invited you prior.
I'm sure for a live stream like that, it had to have been somebody dropping the link in the chat.
Yeah.
That I did. And I honestly, no, I couldn't. I don't even know whose stream it would have been.
Oh wow. Okay. So ABZ Comics says that he's actually a 9.6 guy for when it comes to buying slabs. To be fair, I think the majority of my books are like 9.6. I've got quite a few 9.8s, but I'm happy to take a 9.6 of like a rare book. But,
well, yeah, absolutely. I talk about all the time finding the nexus of value.
Yeah.
That's where I like to look at when I look at collecting and I look at books. I like to try to find where is it the maximum grade at the least amount, that I get value from. The value from a 9.6 to a 9.8 on most books is tremendous. Look, the difference between a 9.6 and a 9.8 book is virtually, it's like could be one little minor thing, and the value difference, or what it could cost you if you're trying to acquire it slabbed, can be anywhere from 2 to 5x. And that is tremendous. So absolutely, there's a lot of books like when I bought my NYX and my Ultimate Fallout 4, they're 9.6s. Because the amount of book I could get at price versus how much more it would cost me. When you're talking about, like when I bought my Ultimate Fallout 4, I think I paid $250 for it. It would have cost me 4 times that at that same time for a 9.8.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
No, I mean, if I wanted to, I'd rather own 4 9.6s than own one.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. That book has dropped in value so much now, isn't it?
Oh, it's gone. Yeah, because the 9.6 had gone up near 1,000, and now it's back. I think it's now around like $350 or $400 or something. But you know what? I like anything else. Has it lost value if you haven't sold it?
No.
Exactly.
I mean, my copy I bought it raw, still polybagged.
There you go.
Got it pressed and clean. Came back a 9.4.
Yeah.
But
I mean, are you trying to sell it?
No.
There you go.
My collection.
So its value is that it's a copy of Ultimate Fallout 4.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
that hasn't changed because it's still a copy of Ultimate Fallout 4.
Yeah, definitely.
That's what we did. That's a problem. This is the one thing that happens with YouTube, and I think in the collection is really kind of a phenomenon. With the boom that came with this, is that there's a lot of conversations that happen around value, and it's important to have value understandings because you don't necessarily want to overpay for something if you're trying to acquire these things.
Yeah.
But But I know so many people who get wrapped up and do all this content about, oh, I bought this and now it's worth less than I paid for it. That happened. That's true of right. The books, the Spider-Man books I bought 4 years ago, 3 years ago, a lot of them I could acquire today for less. That's
Yeah, of
fine.
course. Yeah.
But I'm not trying to sell any of them. I
Yeah.
collected them. They
Yeah.
still have the exact. I was fine with the price I paid for then.
Yep.
And now all that just means is I have opportunities to get better books if I want. Otherwise, I must move on. I still have that book. My collection is done. Moved on.
Yeah, I remember like collecting comics for me was always about getting the item. But I'm not gonna lie. When I used to watch, Comic Tom's Hot 10 comics, and they used to, this book is, I used to count how many books I used to have in the top 10, and then when you saw like the value of them, I was like, oh my gosh! But
It's
in the
easy
back
to
of my
fall into that
mind,
trap.
yeah, it's easy. But in the
Where
back
it's
of my mind,
good. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, go on.
I say where it's good though is if you do want to play that game is when you do see a book go up really high and that's it's not a sustain. That book's not going to stay there.
Yeah.
Then great. Go ahead and sell the copy you have if you have one. Well, it's high, knowing that you can reacquire it later. It's cheaper, right? I mean, I did that when She-Hulk was going crazy. The infamous sensational She-Hulk where she's like naked jumping rope throughout the book, whatever.
Yeah.
I had a 9.8 copy and it ballooned up to like $900 in value.
So you sold it.
You absolutely betcha I sold that damn thing. There's no way that book's gonna stay that high forever.
No.
Now I could probably go pick another copy up in a 9.8 probably for about $200 if I wanted. I'm not even sure I want another copy, but I mean it's like, well, okay.
Yeah. I was gonna say there must be some collectors out there that during the like the boom, they were like, oh, I need the money, I've got to sell my collection. And they sold them, and imagine them today going, right, I'm going to start collecting my comics again. And you could just
look how cheap these are.
Yeah, you'd be like, wow, that would be absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
We've got Dave has said that Rob is the ultimate recycler. Mystery boxes, unwanted dupes go back to the community via the Only Slabs giveaway. Definitely.
Yeah, a lot of them do.
Peter said he's not brought a mystery box in ages. Kind of lost the excitement for him. Definitely. What we need is like some really good ones to come out where, a bit like how the Dorkers was a few years ago. Rob, what is your favorite mystery box ever? Are you asking to share your honey pot?
Yeah. Oh God. There's been some good ones over time. I mean, I think Jack B puts out just a phenomenal because it's a tailored mystery box. I'm trying to remember. There's another individual that would do some tailored mystery boxes or customized mystery boxes. Anytime I can get a custom mystery box where they're going to ask you questions and you give them detail, they're going to be able to get you books that fit with that. Those are great. Aside from that, one of my favorite mystery boxes is the IR Off Authentics mystery box. It's simply because it's not when you go get that box, you're not buying. It's not a box you're buying for value. It's a set price, and it's going to have 9 to 10 books in it, and every single book is going to be signed. And you're almost always going to get at least one book in there. It's got 2 to 3 signatures on it, and most of the time there's a chance you're going to get original art or a sketch cover or something there. And I've gotten a lot of sketch covers out of those boxes, and I love sketch covers. So I love that mystery boxes at $115 for a mystery box. I get a sketch cover, and like the last one I did, it was guaranteed you were getting a sketch cover. Every box had a sketch cover in it.
Wow.
Great. So $115, I got a sketch cover, plus I get 8 other books that are signed.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm good with that.
Sounds incredible. We've got Gem Mint Collectibles in the house. Thank you so much for joining us, Gem.
What's up, Gem?
Is that a dig at me, Gem? Hello. Is that what that is?
No, I just think, yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's. We've got Manu, the 9.9 newsstand. Manu, thank you so much for joining us. What up? We've got Whack Comics in the house. Lee, thank you so much for joining us, brother. Everyone's saying hello to Whack, Jem, and Manu. Dave has said still the best thing is buying a 9.4, 9.6 and CPRing it and turn it into a 9.8. Yeah.
I know a lot of people who enjoy doing that. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, there's literally, it's very like minute differences, to be fair. So
yeah,
it could just be the grade is having a bad day and just like, nah, that's not a
yeah. You do have to know what the differences are somewhat. I think if you're going to do that,
yeah,
and be able to look at, scrutinize the 9.4, 9.6 slab and go, because there's books like I can look at my Ultimate Fallout 4 and I can look at it and go, there's no chance, no matter how much cleaning and pressing I do, it's never going to be a 9.8.
Yeah,
because there's a color rub on the back.
Yeah, of course.
It's not the polybag crease that's the reason type of thing. So you go, okay, cool. Don't waste your time and money. But there's a lot of books out there it's amazing what a clean and press, especially if it doesn't sit at CGC for 2 years like they were at one point.
Oh yeah, that crazy times, man. It's all completely different now. We've got Mark from Legion of Comics. Thank you so much for joining us. Hi, MJ, Rob.
Hey, Mark.
But we kind of briefly talked about this but where is the idea of only slabs come from? You used to be called Slab Hub as well.
Slab Hub, yeah. You never guess where I got that name from. Yeah,
exactly. Both great names. For anybody who's totally unaware what we're talking about, then do not
ask a male in your life.
Yes. But you about an hour or two before this show, you had episode number 186.
Correct.
Which is like 186 episodes. Amazing. That's great.
It's continuity, including all the Slab Hub episodes, because it's always been one show. It just changed names due to
copyright.
Legal. No, surprisingly, not with the adult website.
Was there another show? Was there another?
No. So let me answer the question, and I'll in the transition, I'll address that. How's that? Yeah. So what happened is, like, one day early on in my collecting, I just took a picture out in my garage where I have all my comics. So I live in California. The part of California I live in, we have ideal weather that my garage is perfect paper preservation environment. So that's why I can store books like that in my garage and stuff. But I took a picture of a rack full of boxes of slabs. I think there was like 13 at the time. I only had like 13 or 15 boxes of slabs or something.
Yeah.
But only. And so I took the picture and I posted it up on Instagram or something. And some comment that says, yeah, I got a few slabs. And then I got a bunch of comments and some people saying, hey, what would be great is why don't you go through those and show us what you got, type of thing. I said, okay, whatever. And so I decided to pull them down, and I would do one box a week. I would just kind of go through, and that would give me like 14 or so weeks worth of content. I reached out to a buddy of mine that I was doing a different show at the time. I was doing a show called Sidekicks Talk Comics with a gentleman named Slotted Up. Excuse me. And I asked him, I said, hey, I have this idea for this show. I'm going to do this. I don't want to just stand there by myself with these books. Would you be interested? And he's like, oh man, I got a lot of different things going on. I can't really do it. He says, but who'd be great? He says, I know this guy, the Comic Vet. You should talk to him.
Chris.
Yeah. And so that's how Chris and I got connected, was through a mutual friend on Instagram, YouTube, connected us. Chris was thinking about getting into YouTube. He hadn't done any of his own content yet. And so he took a chance and came on with me, and almost instantly we had great rapport as we went through, just showing off the books in my collection.
Yeah.
And then as we got done with that, and from that I was like, oh yeah, we'll call it Slab Hub, because I always joked that this was like adult porn, right? This is nerd porn.
Yeah.
So what better than, okay, Pornhub, Slab Hub, here we go, let's go, boom. And so it was us doing that, and then after I did my books, he did his books,
Yeah.
and we did. And then we said, well, let's keep this rolling. We'll have some of our friends on. Let's have our friends do this. And that's how the show kind of really then evolved, is with season 2, because I do break the show up into seasons on our playlist. Season 2 is where we start having guests, and it's no longer just Chris and I. It's now with other folks. And from that's how the show started going. And we were doing that for a while. Now it turns out there was a comic book presser in Texas that was using the name Slab Hub, and he had a similar logo. Imagine that. We both took inspiration from the same adult website, so we both had similar logos.
But I'm guessing he was a business.
He was a business. It was his thing was 2 guys, 1 press. So you guess where he was going with that one too. So he somehow, and he didn't even know about me, but somehow, somewhere through the way, some middleman between us, saw my show or some content or something from my show, and then reached out to him saying, hey, this guy's using your name or whatever else. And so then he came over and he threatened some legal action or whatnot. And I kept going. He kept saying, oh, I copyrighted it. I'm like, oh, copyright has nothing to do with what we're doing here. And even if you can have 2 different companies with the same name, if they're doing different things and stuff, AAA plumbing and AAA locksmith, guess what? They're unrelated. They're allowed to have those names and stuff because they're doing different stuff. He was doing comic book press and I was doing this. But so he was threatening his lawyers at me, and I was trying to get a copyright lawyer, but nobody was paying. I wasn't getting responses. You try and reach out to a copyright lawyer and they're just hearing your YouTube and they just go. So I was like, oh, you know what? I just don't want to deal with this.
Yeah.
So I was kind of talking about it with one of these. I do a big, as you talked about, I'm in the barbecue. I do a giant cookout at my house every summer. I'm doing this cookout. I'm talking about it with some friends there. And somebody said, or somebody else had already previously mentioned, Rob, well, you should just change the name. Why don't you change it to like Only Slabs instead of OnlyFans type thing? And I'm like, oh, that's not bad.
Yeah.
And so I was kind of talking about it, and several of the mothers of or wives of friends that were there all thought, wow, I really like that name. The feedback, it tested positively with both men and women. It wasn't quite as bad in your face type thing. It was more directly kind of, hey, if you think we're just showing off slabs.
Yeah. It was in the name, Only Slabs.
Right.
So, yeah.
And it was great that OnlyFans just was changing their logo.
Oh, okay.
So they were switching to the new OF that they use now versus their old logo.
Okay.
And so we modeled our logo off of their old logo, which was in everybody's mind, but now it wasn't even like in the realm of what they were doing and everything else. And so that's how Only Slabs then continued on and became that. And our very first guest on Only Slabs was one of your countrymen, Sunil.
Yeah. Shout out to Sunil.
One of my favorite guests ever on the show. He's always so fun to have conversations with.
He's a great guy.
So passionate. But yeah, so that's how we became Only Slabs. That's how the show kind of morphed from Slab Hub to Only Slabs, and where we're at. And here we are, like, coming up on episode 200. It'll be this summer.
Say, anything special planned for episode 200?
I like, like everybody else, I think big round numbers deserve a little bit of something. So we'll probably reach back into our bag of past guests, and I'll find, there's some guests that have some incredible collections that, we'll reach out to probably some of them and try to see who's available. Schedule aligns with that.
Cool.
To have on the show for sure.
That'd be great idea. Okay. I mean, I think it's amazing. I love watching it live, or if not, I can obviously catch it on the rewind. But
I just looked over and I saw Mark's comment. He says, and where's that Slabhead Comics presser now? Yeah. No,
Where is
they
he?
they don't
he-
exist.
Doesn't
They're out of
exist.
business.
Ah, man.
Yeah.
Always the way, isn't it? People come and go in this this small circle, don't they, to be fair.
It was funny though, when we did change the name to Only Slabs though, to make it another jab at them, we had also then started doing the tagline of the show for a while. And in addition to the sexy slabbing comic book action,
Yeah.
was the two guys, one show. Was the
You
thing
showed
that
them.
kinda
You definitely showed them. No, but so you mentioned about Ilson underscore comics Sunil. Is there any other fantastic shows or a standout show
Oh,
for you that's been your
Jesus.
favorite?
So many amazing guests that have brought collections on that are crazy, and then there's so many guests that have just been like, sometimes you just like the comic books themselves maybe weren't like the most mind-blowing comic books,
Yeah, but you've
but
had a good.
they were so phenomenal and stood
Yeah.
out in their conversations. There's just so many of them. There's more great guests and great shows, in my opinion, than there are bad ones. America, I don't think there are. I think there's only one bad show, and that's the famous Pokemon show. That's the absolute worst show ever.
Okay.
But aside from that, I think they've all been great.
Okay, cool. And how does one get onto? Do you have to apply, or do you just invite? What do you do?
It's really simple. People just have to reach out to me and say, "Hey, I'm interested," and 99.9% of the time I'll let them on as long as their name's not Tyler Glass.
Brilliant.
Yeah, no, we happen to have. I'm always looking for people. I'm always scouring Instagram, trying to find things and reach out to people. It is fun in that nowadays, when I reach out to people, uh, there are people that in the past I would reach out. It was a lot of explaining
What it's
who the
about.
hell am I, right? And the show has grown enough and it got
Yeah, they know.
enough talk that there's enough people now that know that more often than not, when I reach out to somebody, they at least have heard of the show. Which is always nice. There's still some guests I would love to get there's some other really big people out there I'd love to have on the show. Sometimes I've gotten some different answers in the past of like, oh, I don't do show and tell. I don't want to do that, type of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
And it's like, okay, cool. You know what? I get it. Whether that's a true statement or not, that's fine. When I see you doing show and tell on somebody else's channel, I'll know that, that's fine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But you know what? That's cool. So, but for the most part, yeah, there's a lot of cold reach outs, but there's a lot of folks within our own community that do reach out. And I always say, hey, if you're interested, just hit me up, reach out to me and let me know. And I'm happy to have folks on. I want to get different folks on. I like to show different collections and showcase different people. Cause I remember coming up sometimes it's exposure for me on other people. I bring on guests that are bigger channels than me and I get the exposure, and sometimes we're bringing on smaller channels and they're getting the exposure. And that's what it's all about, is just meeting in different people from different sets. And who cares about subscriber counts and everything else? It's just comics, man.
Yeah, man.
It's expensive paper. Let's have some fun.
Well, consider this an application to come on the show, if that's okay.
Absolutely. I will talk to you once we go off. We'll talk dates.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'm happy.
Yeah,
we
do book several months in advance. We're booked out into end of May now.
You booked out to 2028. I hear. Is that
no, not quite that far. I usually book about 3 to 4 months in advance.
That's fine. That's fine.
Because, and some people I know go like, why the hell? And I go, if you're doing a live show, and I know you understand this.
Yeah.
If you do a weekly live show, 3 to 4 months out really isn't that far out, when all of a sudden, you don't book, if you're booking blocks, all of a sudden, next thing you know, you're like, oh, holy cow, I only got the next 2 weeks. And then I got to find, Yeah.
No, to be fair, at the moment, pretty much all my slabs, are in storage because I'm trying to sell my house. I didn't really want anything valuable in the house. Well,
that's fair.
People are looking around, but yeah, I do have I think I'm at 200 now, maybe.
Yeah, nice.
I got some cool ones. Just jumping in the chat, JSS Brooklyn says, Mark, welcome. Hope you had a wonderful time on campus with your daughter today. Yes, Mark's took his daughter for I don't know what you guys call it, but it's like you go and have a look at a campus, do you?
You visit universities?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, so proud daddy today. I'm guessing he was. Jem's put. It says it's a goat, turquoise, white horn. I think it's a unicorn. I think. Don't know who's saying that about. Mark was, brother, I had the best day ever. So excited for her. Now I'm home and those miles of walking the campus are setting in. But Jem Mint has said that I was actually thinking about making a video looking at my old keys and seeing if they are cheaper than what I originally paid for them in 2014.
Oh,
Whoa.
That time span would be really interesting. I know I did a show. I remember
10
doing it
years
at one point.
difference.
I did a show one time where I had tracked some of the books where I had bought, and then like a year or two later, I came back and looked at their values stuff. And I thought it was interesting. I find those types of things interesting. It's the same reason like I hang on to the old pricing for CGC and stuff. And every time CGC does a price increase, everybody talks about one aspect of it. I like to talk about, oh, look, we've had in 4 years, here's what the price is actually. That incremental increase from year over year is not a big deal, but what is it in 4 years? And you go like, holy cow, it's gone up 70%.
Yeah.
Whoa. So yeah, those things are fun. I'd get a kick out of that, Jem.
Yeah, 100%. It'll be especially the 10-year difference.
Yeah.
And I 10 years ago, I can't even imagine what some of the prices would have been actually.
Yeah, because I generally believe that books, there's a spike for the COVID period time, right?
Yeah.
But I generally believe that for the most part, if you remove that, you look at a long enough curve, it's a pretty gradual slope for most books.
Yes.
That there's obviously, I think there's ever since the spike of COVID, there's also been with that a greater influx in variability with regards to individual books that relate to media properties, television, movies, or whatnot. But overall, I suspect it's a pretty consistent climb if you slice through those. But that a 10-year run like that would be a very interesting to see if that hypothesis is true or not.
Jem is probably gone and started filming that video right now, knowing him.
Excellent. I'll wait for the DJ edit.
I have comic issues. I got $50 for my Raw Infamous Iron Man #1 last year. Congratulations on that.
Nice.
Everyone's telling in the chat Jem to do it. He says, I think they were still cheaper in 2014. We've got Vinny in the chat. Thank you so much for joining us, Vinny. Congratulations to Dr. Von Hooch, just hit 390 subs. Congratulations, brother.
Nice.
Go and check out his channel here. Fuzzy, welcome, Fuzzy. I haven't seen you in a while. Thank you for joining us. Hello, handsome men and dashing women. Really appreciate the kindness. I remember finding only slabs during the slab hub days. Mark is telling John to get out of here and watch Severance. Are you watching Severance?
I've only heard about it like this week as people have been talking about I guess the end of the season. I hadn't even heard of it prior to this. Or if I have, probably I have. Mark's probably been talking about it for weeks now, but I haven't been listening to him.
It's one of those shows where you've just got to watch it.
Oh, wait a second. Yeah, this is the one. I know why I haven't watched. This is the one he's talked about where it's kind of like he keeps referring to it like Lost or something. And I never watched Lost, so I never got what that was all about. But I will give him the benefit of the doubt. The man has turned me on to several shows that I have gone and watched, and he's not ever steered me wrong.
Yeah.
So I will get around to it at some point.
Yeah, it's one of those shows where I really look forward to watching. I can't wait for the next episode. It's great television. But I don't understand why John would be.
He wants to watch us instead.
Yeah, well, no, I'm not. I don't criticize him for that. But what I'm trying to say is because obviously he's a big Lost fan. I don't understand why he wouldn't be interested in it, or maybe he probably thinks he doesn't have it in him to commit to a show like Lost again.
I don't know. I think that John's been watching. I think it's just that he doesn't need to go off to go watch that right now.
No, I
He
think
could be,
he
or maybe.
I saw Mark put out a post on Instagram earlier, and John said that he stopped watching it season 1. So, but yeah, no, go check it out definitely. Fuzzy, I read Jem's idea up there. Great video idea. Totally agree. Don't get me started on Severance. Great, that's my wife. Tried to get her into it, but she was not taking to it. Too much thinking for her, I think it was. But right, okay. Slabbing the base, missed opportunity. Great, I love that film. I love you, man. Don't know if you've seen that. Where is the slab hub? Oh, yeah, I've got this. Puritan of a good girl. Taxi slab confessions. I'll be honest with you, right? While we've been doing this show, and I don't want to lose it in the back of my mind, I've actually come up with what I think will be a good show, like to do. In this country, we have, I don't know if you have it in America, but we used to have a television show called Through the Keyhole.
Okay. I've
But
heard of it.
It was basically like it's like looking through the keyhole, trying to figure out who the person is, and they would give you certain clues and show off stuff that they own or collect, or like they show you that around their house. And you, by the end of the show, you've got to guess who you think it is. And I think you could do that with people's collections, so they could show off some books, and everyone, but you wouldn't know who it was, and you kind of gotta guess who the collector is. I don't know.
That would be interesting.
That would be fun. Oh, we've got Chris, the comic vet, in the house. What did he miss? You've missed an hour and 17. Well, you probably didn't actually. Probably missed about an hour or so, maybe. But really appreciate you joining us, buddy.
We only said good things.
Yeah. R.I.P. Slab Hub Presser. The Pokemon show was terrific. Perspective is everything, according to Chris.
Do you know what we're talking about when I say that? The Pokemon
I don't have
show?
a clue. Don't have a clue.
So, for anybody who doesn't know, this is an infamous episode on Only Slabs, where Tyler Glass, infamous, he was a guest on the show, and he kept talking about like, oh, I'm going to bring more slabs than anybody, all this stuff. And I'm like, oh, dude, there's only so much time, blah, 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 blah. And, I know that I know him well enough. And he's obviously part of the whack crew. And he decided he was going to go full whack on me here. And so I'm not a Pokemon guy at all. And so he shows up to the show, and right out of the gate, he sets up this thing. He's got this close-up camera, and he's showing slabbed Pokemon cards.
Yeah.
Throughout the whole thing. And he's just going, you just said slabs. I don't get what you're saying. You said slabs. And it was like this whole, throughout the show, I'm sitting there going like,
you don't know anything about these things.
I know nothing about this. I don't care about this. This is not what my show is about. And I'm like, I kept going like, do I pull the plug? I almost shut it down like 3 times. I almost shut the channel off just like midstream.
Wow.
And, but Chris, fortunately, he plays Pokemon Go, or did at the time.
He knew.
So he knew what the only Pokemon I knew was names I heard my kids mention when I would walk by them while they're playing games, right? So I've heard of Pikachu, I heard of Charizard, I heard of Squirtle, and I know that there's types. Beyond that, that is my 100% extensive knowledge of Pokemon.
Yeah.
Chris was able to go with the show. People had fun as I did the fucking like what the hell is this?
I bet you the chat was loving it. The chat must have been
they thought it was great. The looks on my face and everything else throughout it. And it was a painful show for me, but hey, at the end of the day, it was entertainment.
Yeah. So
now there's a rule, and so this is infamous. So now I'm very clear when I reach out to people and I say graded comic books. And matter of fact, Justin Birch, when he was he had been referred to me by Tyler, to be a guest on the show. And when I was talking with Justin Birch for the first time, I said, "You need to tell me because Tyler referred you.
Yeah.
You have to say the words that you are bringing graded comic books."
Yep. And did he?
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Okay. I was going to say, how do you feel about graded comic book trading cards in terms of like Marvel cards? No.
Yeah. No, it's not what the show's about.
Whoa. Okay. So
there's other great book people who do different. What do you collect? Like, do different because they know people collect different things and talk about their collections in general. This show is a very specific show.
Yeah. My wife has put James is hinting about coming on. That was my. She knows me too well. I have comic issues. What is the biggest slab you've had on the show? I think maybe Chris has answered that as an Action Comics one.
Yes, I mean we've had Action Comics 1 on the show twice.
Yeah,
we've had Detective Comics 27 on the show.
Wow, there's probably not much you've not had.
At this point, yeah, I think we've had well, we haven't had a More Fun 52. There's there's some big books out there still that we haven't had, but we've had some of like the big books, including the original JSA first appearances and stuff like that. It's crazy when you see some of those books. I mean, we had a 9.6 graded Startling Comics 49.
Wow.
I mean, which for anyone who doesn't know that's the infamous Bender cover, Schomburg, in a 9.6. I mean, it's just
where he's carrying the woman. Is that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we've had some crazy books. We've had some people who brought on some crazy collections, and one gentleman came on one time. He brought on probably the most big books on it, but they were all ultra low grades. I mean, he had like CBCS does like 0.3, which is like a book where it's the cover is like it's got like partial. Well, no, the cover is like partially got like part photocopy and part.
Oh, okay.
Stuff.
Wow.
So it's really kind of like a incomplete grade almost. And he had several books that were like that. But you know what? He had an Action Comics and a Deck 27. And you know what? I have neither.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So
low grade is better than no grade.
Exactly. I mean, he had 3 copies of Batman 1.
Wow. Incredible. Austin LeMay, I'd love to see an MJ episode. Appreciate that, buddy.
Well, we're going to make it happen, Austin.
Have you done any shows with Mint Hunter Comics, Longbox Love Affair, Gem Mint, or Comic Tom?
So I've reached out in the past to Mint Hunter. He did not respond.
Legion said that here, James of Mint Hunter would be a great guest, but you don't see him on other channels.
Yeah, I've reached out to him a couple times, but he's never responded on anything like that. Longbuck's Love Affair, I've actually never heard of. And that's the joy of this community. Is somebody you haven't heard of. No, Comic Tom and Gem Mint, I have never reached out to. Mostly, I think there's I think that you're intimidated to reach out to some of those folks when you're a small channel. To reach out to them, and they got, especially Comic Tom's got so many things going on, much stuff that he's doing, trying to do stuff to try to sit there and say, oh hey, can I steal you for 90 minutes on my channel to come show off some of your slabs? Seems unrealistic.
I think though, and this is coming from experience, I think it's not as intimidating as you might think. I think it's just I've reached out to both of them. They've both come onto the channel. I think, to be honest, asking Gem Mint to come on the channel last summer was probably one of the best things I ever did for my channel. And like
the most I've ever done with as far as reaching out to either of them, I think in the past we might have reached out regarding comics curing cancer a little bit. But we didn't go anywhere. We didn't push it.
Yeah.
And sometimes, those first I'm sure they get so many messages that, you have to, the first ones and stuff aren't going to always go through and stuff. So at some point, sure. I'd love to have those guys on any of them on the channel. I remember reaching out to Reggie Collects, trying to get him on the channel.
Yeah.
I even though Nerdy Girl breaks the rules, I enjoyed having her on the channel. So I enjoy having a good mix and variety of collectors on the channel.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's good.
And I think Gem Mint, I've never reached out to Gem Mint. I think mostly because in my mind,
It's just
when I think
omnibus.
Gem Mint, I think omnibuses and statues. I don't think graded comic books. And that could be my fault for just assuming.
He alluded to earlier in the chat here talking about books he'd bought back in 2014, 2015. I don't know if he's still got any slabs. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But wouldn't that be that would be an interesting show though, if like me, a lot of people just assumed and think of him only in one way to see that different aspect of the collector. That's a very interesting piece. And,
that'd be great if he still did own some slabs. Rob,
Jim, if you're still around and listening and think about it, hey man.
Yeah. Rob, with your slabs, what come first, the art or the value or the grade? It's a deep question, that is.
I
think it depends on the book.
It does, yeah. There are some books that I collect because of the stories or the like the Spider-Man run. It was all about the fact that I was working on this. If I'm working on a run, it's the run.
Yeah.
There are some books that I collect that because they're certain keys, they're his pieces of history, and there are some books that I collect just for the art. And then there's books that I collect for nostalgia, right? I mean, I think this is a perfect opportunity. If you don't mind, I'll show a couple books real quick that kind of tie into this. Is that
of course?
Okay?
Yeah. I will. I don't think I've made anyone big on this, but there we go. There you go.
So I mean, I love my shinies, my Spider-Man, all my 2099s. So this is like the first book this isn't the book, but this is my first comic book that I ever picked up myself was a copy of Spider-Man 2099, picking it off the spinner rack. So I got down the rabbit hole of the 2099 universe, man. I love them all. It doesn't really matter to me. Oops, God, come on, next one. So,
lovely fall covers.
Yeah, they're just. I mean, who didn't love shiny foil in the 90s? Come on.
Yeah. Well, foils are all the rage again now, aren't they? They've come back again.
Different ones, yeah. So some of those are collected because those are special to me, nostalgia. There's stuff like this. This was part of a run, but this is art, man. This is like
super high grade for that.
One of my favorite books of all time
of
Spider-Man. This cover is just phenomenal, right?
Yeah.
There's books that you pick up that are a combination. There's just like this one. I just wanted to have a Dick Tracy book, a gold. When I was picking up initially Golden Age books, I was like, oh, I want to have a Dick Tracy. I want to have a Green Hornet. I want to have this. Picking up books that in my mind were those classic Golden Age heroes or comic characters.
Yeah,
that was what it was, and they have some very different art, very great art. And then there's oh god, like this whole series. I never would have picked up Com Corbett, man, but I got this whole run.
Wow.
These are gorgeous painted covers.
Yeah.
That Dell did with their 4-color stuff. Some of them just incredible. Here you go. For anybody who knows, four color number 10. This is the very first Flash Gordon comic book.
Wow.
From the 4-color series. So there's books like that, and then there's books. Some books in your collection are just not only are they important to you, but this happens to be this is a book that will never leave my collection because this is a book that has a story I've told. This was actually my brother-in-law's book. He passed away.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And when we were at his funeral and stuff, doing all this stuff, my wife was the executor of his estate. and among other things, this was like one of the books that she brought home.
Yeah, inherited.
And with so many things, you take me off today. With so many things that were of his, they got put aside. She didn't want to really look at them, and it got lost. And I kept thinking about it. In my mind as a collector, I kept thinking, it's there somewhere.
Yeah.
But I forgot about it too. Then one day I'm just like sitting here doing something. I don't think I was on a stream even. And my wife, all of a sudden she said, "Oh my God." And she comes around. You're never going to believe. She says, "You're never going to believe what I found." She was cleaning the junk drawer. Everybody's got a junk drawer, right?
Yeah.
And it was in the junk drawer.
Wow.
Not it wasn't encapsulated. It was just raw.
Yeah.
And so, okay, well, great. So we took that and I had it cleaned and pressed and sent it off and get done. So, I mean, it's obviously sentimental. It's got a family connection. And it's also one of those fun stories of, I found an ASM 300 in the junk drawer.
Cool. Amazing story. That's awesome. Do you think if it wasn't in the junk drawer, do you think it would have come back a bit higher?
Probably not. No. I don't think it was bagged and boarded in the junk drawer. I think it was just my brother-in-law was he lived a hard life.
Oh, okay.
And so the fact that he even had that book still, he had sold most of his stuff off to cover just to live.
Yeah.
And stuff. So
cool.
It obviously meant something to him that he made a point of not selling that one.
Yeah. Well, it was First Venom. You can't really great Todd McFarlane artwork in that book as well.
No. It's been homaged a handful of times.
Yes, too many times. That and Spider-Man 1.
Yeah, we talked about that today.
Yeah. JSS Brooklyn, Rob and Jem and Tom are great guys. They are very approachable. Chris is saying that Comic Tom would love to read the right side of the blue label for me. If can get on toe to toe with Tom, I think we could talk to him definitely. So the next part of the interview, Rob, is I know that you, I've been told that you are not a fan of being complimented. I don't know if that's true or not, or
I don't.
Do you take it?
I'm a humble individual, so I don't mind being complimented. I mean, but I don't. I also at the same time I don't like people to sit there and say like, oh, like especially when it comes to comics curing cancer, like it's not my brainchild. I'm not the only one who does it. I'm not the reason it exists.
Yeah, of course.
If I wasn't there, it would live on, type of thing. So I'd like to make sure as often as possible. Obviously it's intertwined with me. I'm especially with my channel.
Yeah.
And so it comes up all the time, but I like to make sure. I think it's very important. My style of leadership, whether it was in scouting, whether it's in work, in professional life, whatever else, is to make sure that everybody else is getting the attention and the admiration. It's more important that they get it because their help, especially in volunteering stuff like this, their continued help and knowing that they are appreciated and their willingness to then help, that helps me, makes it easier for me to do what I do. And I appreciate that people are appreciative of what we do. And that's all I need.
Well, you do an incredible job, and I reached out to a few people if they wanted to say some short words. Some people came up with some short words, some people came with a bit more, but I'm just going to play a video now, and if that's okay with you, I'm going to play it now.
Rob, congratulations. You've hit the big time. You're being interviewed by James over on MJ Comix. Huge grail for you. I know this is a big deal. Also, congrats on all you're doing for the community and for comics curing cancer. You're leading the way in so many phenomenal paths that we all can follow. Thank you for all that you do. I'm excited to meet you this coming Saturday over at WonderCon in Anaheim. And thank you. Just keep up the good work, buddy. This is John from John's Comics with Kids, by the way.
Hey there, it's Chris. So you may know me from hanging out on Rob's channel every Saturday or so, and yeah. So James reached out to me and asked, "Hey Chris, would you mind saying something about Rob?" And the easy thing to do would to be talking about his philanthropy with Comics Curing Cancer, or his YouTube channel and his ever-growing collection of fantastic books. But I like to think I know a little bit more about Rob than just what is scratched on the surface when it comes to the YouTube world. I've had the opportunity, to hang out with Rob, have meals with him, chat with him privately, and let me just tell you, the YouTube personality that you see is the kind man behind that facade. There's not much I can really say other than this really is Rob's world, and we're just kind of hanging out with him on it. Rob is one of the good dudes in the world. I feel lucky to know. I feel lucky to know him, and I hope you do too. That's Rob's Fat Stax. Oh, comics.
Hey, Cliff on Comics here. So, what can I say about Rob Fat Stax? Greatest giveaway box in all of comic book community YouTube. But seriously, the work that Rob does with DJ and Mark for Comics Curing Cancer is inspiring. It's phenomenal. Cancer affects so many of our lives, and it's such an incredible thing that they're doing. And Rob is a collector. Rob is a mentor. Rob is a friend. Rob, helps encourage others and put life into other channels. He really knows how to support members of his community. And they're, Rob is really special. He's the big brother I wish I had, and he's really great. So on behalf of the comic book community and myself, Rob, we adore you, we love you, you inspire us, and we look forward to more. So thank you. Love everybody. Spread the love.
Hey Rob, just wanted to say thank you for all the hard work you've been doing, especially with Comics Curing Cancer. You don't know how much it means to people like myself and others what your collaboration in this project has really mean, and how it put the community together on their one cause to fight cancer. So we know who the true enemy is, and that's cancer. So thank you for everything you've done, man. We really do appreciate it, man. And I'll see you wherever I can see you, my brother. Love you.
Everybody, Peter here from Triple G Comics. Just wanted to stop by and say a big hello to Rob Fat Stax. Rob is a guy I've known for a little while now, and he's a tremendous chap. So Rob, thank you so much for all of your support on my little channel and your friendship over the last couple of years. Now, those of you may or may not know that in my private life, I am actually a cancer nurse. I have been for some 25 years, so I am well versed with the shithole that is cancer and the devastating effects it has on people. And that's probably why I was drawn to Rob, because him and his colleagues do an absolutely phenomenal job on Comics Curing Cancer. Rob, I just want to say a massive thank you for all the hard work and effort you put into supporting that charity. I know it also comes at a personal cost to you as well at times. Your efforts and the efforts of the full team are absolutely noted by people like myself and the whole comic community. You're an absolute star. I'm also a massive fan of that tremendous moustache. Very sexy.
My mother told me never to trust men with beards, sir.
Excellent native Cockney wit.
I feel like I'm saying nothing but nice stuff here, which is not like me at all. Rob, you're a nice bloke, apart from your barbecue skills. I hear they're shite.
What up to MJ Comix on YouTube, and shout out to my homie Rob's Fat Stax, the man, the myth, the legend, driving Comics Curing Cancer. We appreciate you so much for what you do for this community. You're focused on the community, and unlike me, your ability to avoid the dumb shit and focus on the positive.
How did that make you feel, Rob?
You guys were overly generous and overly kind. Thank you. I appreciate that people have that high of sentiment or willing to say those things. It's definitely
I
a
was gonna
bigger
say,
opinion of me than I have of myself. So thank you.
no, it was like when I reached out to people, they were instantly wanted to do something. You are like I mentioned earlier, you are a standout guy of the comic community. Like your work with Comics Curing Cancer is incredible. The work that you do with obviously DJ Links and Mark and Legion of Comics, you three as a trio, I couldn't highly commend you guys anymore. It's fantastic. There is probably not anybody on earth who doesn't know somebody who's affected by cancer. It's one of the worst things out there, and the whatever you what's your goal? Is it 55,000?
This year we're hoping to raise $55,000. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really weird. And so we had, it's grown. I mean, so the first year when
Yeah.
Cardboard Crazies kicked it off, it was like he set out to raise like $2,000 and they raised $8,000. We then came back and we said, okay, great, you raised $8,000. We're going to raise it 20%, which is an insane percentage to increase by. And we tried to raise $10,000, and we ended up raising like, I don't know, it was like 20 something $1,000.
Yeah.
So then we came back and said, okay, we're going to go for 25. And then we came and rose 50. 50 something thousand. And last year we did, over $50,000 again.
Incredible.
And it's like DJ Mark and I, we do a lot, but we raise only a handful of dollars if it's just the three of us. It is literally the way that this community has, at least a corner of this community. I really think there's so much room for this to grow, because like I just talked about with there's always channels that you don't know. There's lots of different circles of people within the comic book YouTube, Instagram communities that sometimes are really isolated, and sometimes bridging crossovers are difficult. But it's but the way that our friends have really locked onto it and made it a part of themselves, and help us to echo when we're doing this campaign, because Instagram and YouTube, as there's algorithms involved on only so much outreach, everything else. And so by having so many people that are willing to help us out, just echoing and reposting stuff to get that message out, has allowed us to grow and more people to become aware of it. The fact that we're able to get more and more artists that are willing to, professional artists and stuff, that are willing to come in and be a part of what we're doing and helping us to get stuff. The fact that people are willing to give up big books sometimes.
Yeah.
So we have some of these big book items that we can auction off and stuff. It's just amazing that everything that we do from that auction is stuff that's basically donated. I mean, I donate quite a bit for my own PC, don't get me wrong, but by there's a lot more, infinitely more. My stuff is like this much compared to what this community gives.
Yeah.
And then they come back and they buy it back. So it's heartwarming to me to see that everybody can rally around it. And I think it is that fact of the messaging of that. Look, cancer really is that supervillain. Nobody doesn't know, hasn't been touched. Everybody I talk to in this, and this is probably the hardest part about being connected with Comics Curing Cancer, is when I'm talking to people about it, it's always, oh yeah, they tell you their story. My mother, my father, my brother, my sister, my friend, they all have that story, myself, whatever, they all have that story of somebody going through it. And sometimes the story has a happy ending, at least at the end of it, with a lot of pain in the middle, but a lot of times it doesn't have a happy ending. And that can be difficult mentally to compartmentalize. But we know that through that shared pain, everybody understands and everybody's willing to come together. And the fact that we were able to, become an official campaign of the American Cancer Society really kind of allowed us to really ramp up what we do, because it's not just a couple people on YouTube saying, hey, put money in this GoFundMe and trust us that we're going to put the money where we say it is, right? Instead, it's we have an actual connected portal that's paid for and funded by the ACS. Your money, as soon as you make that donation, you instantly get a receipt from the American Cancer Society that when you send me a comic book for us to auction off, if you want one, we can give you a receipt from the American Cancer Society. It says you donated this that you can use on your taxes and stuff. So that all stuff has really helped it, and so everybody can come together and we are making a genuine impact. I'll tell you that the American Cancer Society, the level of help that we get is from them, and the attention is quite impressive, I think. And especially like I see it like this year as we've gone through, they've had some changes on their end, and we've been passed around, but it's always been a priority on them to have somebody directly in contact with me at all the time to be able to make sure that we're getting what we need. So I thank everybody who's does anything, whether it's retweeting or makes a donation or whatever. You guys are the heroes. So thank you.
Well, again, if anyone knows, as a collector of anything, or let alone comic books, to be able to hand over something like money's a lot easier to give sometimes, and money can be hard to come by for most people anyway. So just donating to this cause is just absolutely fantastic, and you guys are doing such a great job, and I'm really proud to have you on the channel to even talk about this, let alone
I thank you for helping to shine the light on this.
No, it's okay. So my pledge to you is, if anything here in the UK, when it comes up for this year, this November, is it
October? It'll be the
October,
third. It's the third weekend in October.
Okay.
I'm trying to. I don't remember. I think it's like the 19th or something like that weekend.
Okay. So anything I can do to help, I will do. I'll 100% behind you guys. I think you guys are fantastic, and I've got a lot of respect for you guys. We have Brian from Beyond Wednesdays in the chat. Thank you so much for watching, Brian. Really appreciate you joining, buddy. I think Mark from Legions has said, perfect, Brian's here, can definitely use your help getting the word out this year. If Brian can do that, I'm sure he will. He's a great guy. Got a couple more people who've joined. We've got Locke. Thank you so much, Locke. I actually bought a sketch card off Locke.
Yeah.
I don't think I bought a mystery box off you, or a bundle or whatever. I've got a pile here that I've not touched, because I'm just we've been waiting to move for ages, but I'm going to have to start cracking everything out. To do it. I wanted to do a video on comics curing cancer, so I'll do that.
Yeah, Locke was one of those artists that really stepped up and helped us out with a lot. I did a lot of sketches. We have for us we have a couple of folks who've hosted the overnight shows, and there's a lot of people who have learned that there's been they've gotten some great artists to help out, and people have gotten some amazing art for really affordable prices. And Locke was one of those artists who was a stand-up guy that churned out a ton of stuff. I know that this year he said he's happy to help again this year, but he's going to have to scale back. He can't do like 30 sketches again.
Yeah.
But absolutely fabulous. And I appreciate he and all the other artists who helped out in helping with these sketch and draw shows. That's just really means a lot to us.
Yeah, fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. We got Comics with Bueller jumping in as well. Thank you so much for joining us, Travis. Hope you're well. So we had Lee from Whack Comics has said, wait, was that the whole video? I didn't see mine. Well, there might be another video being played in a minute, but we'll see. Crying, Mike Cecilia said, crying and soft music now checked off my MJ Comics bingo card. 2 more to go. I do have a habit of repeating myself, so my apologies. But the website I put in the bottom, comicscuringcancer.org. Fantastic cause. Please, if you want to donate any money, please do. really appreciate it if you could. The website looks like this. Great colors. Who's done the art for that?
Well, the original graphic itself, that was a DJ Lynx designed the logo graphic. And
Oh, cool.
Austin LeMay is helping out tremendously with Mark and DJ and I, and he helps us with the website. The website itself is a platform that is paid and funded, everything from the American Cancer Society, and then Austin is providing his expertise and professionalism in helping us to within the scope of what that site's functionality is, helping us to rebrand so we can have a dedicated landing site that's focused with us. We have the ability to do online auctions and selling directly now on the platform. The biggest workaround that we're having to deal with right now is that this platform is a little more restrictive when it comes to international donations and with regards to PayPal. And we have them working on some workarounds on some of that, because I've expressed to them that, hey, PayPal is a big deal to us because a lot of folks use the 6 months same as cash from PayPal credit during the auction. And if we lose that, then that will affect us, what we can do. And I know that they've set up a temporary, there's the main donation buttons, and there's like a separate button down below which says like from outside of the US and Canada.
International one. Yeah, there's
because we found out, and this was nice, was Fable, Fable and his fantastic or amazing friends did a show for us in January. It was left over from the year before because Nick's brother had suddenly passed away from a cancer, ironically, and so they did their show in January. It allowed us to use the new site as for beta testing for their little show, and that's where we found out that the folks in the UK who have been great supporters of us, as well as the folks in Australia, were unable to successfully donate during the show, and so that had to be fixed. And so what's there right now is a temporary workaround while they're working on
makes sense. That's
a bigger perspective.
Brian from Beyond Wednesdays has said every year brothers every year will help out. Brilliant. That's great. A lot of love for you in the comments there, Rob. But yeah, you just a fantastic cause, so please donate. I do have another, I want to say it's short, but it's not, video. So prepare yourselves. I actually went and got a drink during the last video. But no, I appreciate everybody for who participated in this. There are some people that I did ask that didn't get enough time to do it, which is my I kind of did it as like a last minute thing. So there are some people that were asked to do it, but they just didn't have enough time to do it. But so here is the video.
Hello,
Rob,
and welcome to the Spiral Dimension. I'm Dr. Von Hoot, and this is the Magic Badger. So hello, Magic Badger.
Hi.
Okay, so James from MJ Comix got in touch with me about this gentleman I know with a mustache called Rob Fatstax, or as I like to call him, the mustache maniac that gives Chris a heart attack. Yes, well, what can I say about Rob? He's a lovely chap, but I'm not going to go on about that because he doesn't like it when you do the complimenting thing. So let's move on swiftly to comics curing cancer. And I think it's really important that we discuss comics curing cancer because every year it's become more and more a part of like what I'm into. I love the idea of comics curing cancer. You know, we were thinking about this earlier, and 7 members of my family have had cancer at this point. It's serious, and that's not an unusual statistic, I don't think. I think everyone knows somebody and someone that's affected by it. I mean, of those 7, there are only 3 of them still with us. So it's horrible, but you're doing something about it, and I think that's why it appeals to me, because it's in my wheelhouse of comics so much. But at the same time, I think one of the things that happens with cancer is the people around it can feel quite defeated by it. Like, it doesn't matter whether they're all right or not, you don't really know what to do. And like, the reason I think C3 Comics Curing Cancer helps me gives me a place to put my energy, to try my best to, combat something that has, been a burden for my life and for many others. I mean, I haven't had it personally, and yeah, it still affected me in quite a big way. And I think it's worth us drawing attention to people like Rob, DJ, and Mark from Legion of Comics, because they have put something, just given us a little push. And I know he doesn't like us when talking about him being sort of important to the whole thing, but that little push and the assistance has made a whole community come together. They formed like Voltron Badger. They've come together, the Link Squad, the Goon Squad, the Legion. Everybody, super important that we just look Cancer in the eye and slap the hell out of him. Just grab it by the throat and tattle it over and over and over. We'll slap them left and right and drop kick and all sorts. They are bionic elbow for Cancer. Yeah! Yeah! What?
From the spiral dimension.
What it do, comic book gurus? It's your boy Razor Comics, and I want to send a special shout out to my guy. Insert name here. Really, real funny, guys. But all jokes aside, Rob, Fat Stax, you know you're my guy. Special shout out. I just want to thank you for everything that you've done for this young, handsome YouTuber to get me where I'm at. Everything you've done for the comic book community, including comics curing cancer. You're a scholar and a gentleman, sure, sir. I just want to thank you. Appreciate you, everything you've done. Love you, buddy. Have a great day. Check you later.
Friends and fiends, it is your boy DJ Lynx back in front of the dark room with a light shining in my face. Your boy DJ Lynx here, and James, MJ Comix, asked me to say some nice things about Rob Fat Stacks of Comics. So what I did was took all the things that I thought about Rob, condensed them into an Excel spreadsheet, and itemized them column by row, color coordinated just the way Rob likes it. Seriously though, Rob Fat Stacks to me is the crime partner I never thought that I would have ever in life. A guy with a dastardly mustache standing by my side ready to crack skulls, and that's what I appreciate about Rob. One of my partners in the comics curing cancer endeavor, the thing that we do along with Mark from Legion of Comics, and I couldn't ask for two better partners, Rob being one of them. I super appreciate the dude for everything that he brings to the table, especially his friendship. Heroes Con last year was amazing. Can't wait to do it again this year, and I can't wait for our yearly tradition is our, and we're not going to invite anyone else because it's our thing. Rob, I appreciate you. I appreciate everything you stand for, and I don't care what they say. You're okay.
Fuck you, you're okay.
I had to beat that last word out, but yeah, that was brilliant.
I thought you guys said that over there.
We do, yeah, but I didn't know whether or not the video would get taken down. I don't know what they wanted to do, but no.
Yeah,
again, fantastic, fantastic support for you there, Rob. The community loves you, to be fair, buddy. So,
yeah, I appreciate everybody, and I do love some of the thing. I like DJ talking about spreadsheets.
DJ
I
could see you laughing about
DJ
that.
and I have an affinity for spreadsheets, and of course, I'm a huge fan of Dr. Von Hoot and Badger, and I especially love that he's able to have that connection, that father-daughter connection,
relationship.
Sure, and I wanted to be able to do that with my kids, and my kids, unfortunately, very quickly got out of it, even though they brought me back into it. But when you're able to share something like that the way that they do, and you can see that. I am envious, and I appreciate his friendship and support and his family. I really can't wait to someday meet the whole family.
Oh yeah, that'd be incredible. So John's put, "This is your life, Rob."
That's a throw. I'm old enough to know that reference. Thank you, John.
No, I remember that. It was like, I don't know if what it was like in America, but in our country, they used to bring out like a red book, and they would you go through all your achievements in life. But you
Yeah.
gotta love a spreadsheet.
You hear this voice from your past.
But Lee from Whack Comics is, I'm guessing he's happy his video got made into it. He did actually message me saying, I've just filmed that drunk on the train home. It's like past midnight here, so he says, is it okay? I'm like, yeah, it'll be fine, don't worry.
It's the perfect amount of Lee.
Yeah, it's quality. But no, again, like, we'll come off topic now, but please donate to whatever you can to Comics Curing Cancer. Fantastic cause, and these guys are working extremely hard each year, using the comic book medium as a way to support such a great cause. So thank you very much, Rob, from me.
Yeah, I'll let some people have heard us talk about it, but for somebody who doesn't know, I mean, literally, we get done in October. We take about a month off,
and then you're back at it,
and we're back at it. I mean, we're not meeting as frequently right now as we will when we start getting closer and closer. We will have weekly meetings, but right now we're meeting probably about we meet like every 2 to 3 weeks, and stuff's going on because there's so many different elements. DJ's working tremendously right now. This is like DJ's hardest part of the year. For him, because he's organizing and trying to corral all the artists to put together our 2025 art book. And that
some work in itself, I imagine.
Oh my goodness, because they've got these guys are all artists with their own deadlines and stuff, and he's trying to corral them into ours and remind, hey, I know you're doing this for nothing, but could you please remember to get your stuff in on time and whatnot? And, so my hat's off to him for that. And we get into we're coming up on con season where he and Mark are gonna do the heavy lifting of getting all of our stuff to the Two Heroes Con. I get to be easy because I'm coming from the West Coast. I'm not driving. I don't bring squat. I bring me. I fly out there and stroll in. Those guys are logistics. That's right. Well, we need other stuff to make the booth, and those guys make that stuff happen. And Mark ropes in his dad to give us a hand and stuff on that, and it's just absolutely fabulous.
Yeah. Dr. Von Hoot has said that I can't wait for that sexy art book of goodness.
Oh, it's
gonna blow your mind.
Yeah. It's this year's good.
So speaking of like UK channels, what is like you're like affiliated with the Comic Book Fiend Club?
Yeah.
Is that correct? So
yeah, I'm a member of the West Coast chapter of the Comic Book Fiend Club. Yeah.
So for anybody watching, what does that entail? What is that?
What is that? Yeah. The Comic Book Fiend Club is a club of comic book enthusiasts from around the world that was founded by a gentleman out here in the West, Aaron Rizzo, and they have different chapters in Canada, East Coast, Midwest, South, and there was the international, which has recently been renamed UK, I think, because like 95% of the international membership is based out of the UK or Ireland. And so it's just guys and gals that are interested in comics and go to cons, try to meet up at cons and hang out and share the love and banter back and forth, and of course, like any club, give each other ribbings and
of course,
fun that's going on and stuff. There's it's something that they do to make it a little bit something. There's a little pledge action that goes on to get into that you have to go to try to get into the club. There's each chapter only lets in a couple members every year. So when they do it, it's just not like open, let me sign up and be something. They want to make it special.
Of course,
but then they also there's, in addition to trying to do different stuff on Instagram of just showcasing and driving people to show off collections and do different hashtags, whatnot, and cover challenges. But there's also philanthropy involved. I've talked about recently on some of my my haul stuff, books that I'm picking up that I pick up for some of our military comic book drives. There's a big thing we'll do where we collect a bunch of comic books and then send them off to help get them to soldiers and service members of the United States military to be able to have stuff to read, because this stuff like that. There's recently there was a fundraising drive for some Native American women that had been oh God, I'm trying to what the exact thing was, but it was a charity especially affecting Native American women.
Yeah.
That were victims of various stuff. So there's lots of different charitable efforts that get done by the club as well. And it's just something else to do I wanted to get to know, I know so many people, but in the United States, being a big country, really the funny thing is 80% of the population lives east of the Mississippi River. The West Coast, where I'm at, we're a very small population in the United States, and it's still pretty spread out. So there's a lot of collectors I know, but they're all in the East. I can only go back East so many times. And so I wanted to get to know more collectors on the West. And so joining the club and becoming a member of the West chapter has allowed me to connect with a whole bunch of different collectors here on the West Coast. So that way next weekend, when I go down to WonderCon, I'm going there right off the bat. I got a group of people that we're going to hang out. We've got a dinner thing that's set up. We're going to, meet each other and go digging through boxes together, help each other find different books and stuff. And you get that whole camaraderie. Plus I get to also get the connection with all the YouTubers that are down there too and stuff that connect. So, I mean, I get to have like two different groups.
Unions. Yeah.
It's really kind of fun.
That's good. Because I've always, like, when I've been at cons or gone to places and stuff, and I've seen people like wearing like a leather jacket and they've got like a patch on there, and I'm like, what is that? But I think probably like it was like a year ago, maybe a bit over a year ago. A year ago, I was at a comic mart, and a guy selling there is a guy called Scott, and he's like I want to say like the VP or vice president of the UK chapter. And what a fantastic guy he is, Scott. His capes and collectibles. I don't know if you know. Amazing, yeah. So it sounds like an awesome thing. To be fair, just like, but likewise, like in terms of people just wanted to show off collectibles, which is just a great escape.
Yeah, it's funny because you like at least on the US side, you look at some of the members. It looks like a lot of guys that you wouldn't expect. Almost on the surface that are into comic books and stuff.
You expect them to get on the back of a bike and just ride off into the sunset or something.
But we have, to go to club. Yeah, we have the vests that you get once you get your vest and you get your patches and stuff. And
that's cool.
It was all part of the thing. Yeah. It's all a bit of fun.
We've got Reston in the house. Thank you, Reston's Last Stand, for joining us. Hello, James. Hello, Rob. Is this the wall slabs giveaway? I don't think Rob's giving any of them away.
No.
Izzyverse, thank you so much for joining us. I will donate a piece for Heroes Con at the Art Con at the Heroes Con art auction. Brilliant. That's amazing.
Yeah. So this is at Heroes Con, which is one of the big convention that we table at, one of the great true comic book conventions still left. They have, among other things, they have an art auction one day, and leading up to that, they have a big platform, and anybody can go up there and they can go to register to create art live at the show, on the show floor during the Friday and Saturday, and then that art then makes its way to the auction in the evening, and all the art pieces are auctioned off for charity. So you get a lot of pieces, and it's a great event to go check out even if you don't have the money to spend. But pieces go in. So Izzy's said that he's going to create a piece there and have it go up on the art auction with the benefits going to Comics Curing Cancer. And we're super appreciative of that. We hopefully maybe another artist or two also chimes in and does that. That'd be phenomenal. Be a big help to us. So thank you, Izzy, for that and getting that word out about that.
Yeah. No. What sounds Izzy's a great guy by the sounds of it. So outside of comics, Rob, is there anything that you collect other than comics?
Probably not actively as much, but there's stuff that I passively collect nowadays, right? So usually most of them are things that I used to actively collect, but have stopped doing. So like when people come into my home, they're usually often amazed by, this is in my living room. I mean, people walk in my front door and pretty quickly you can see this, but this is one little wall.
Yeah.
You go the rest of the house and there's just Nightmare Before Christmas stuff like
everywhere.
Throughout. I started collecting movie posters, and I have original movie posters from all around the world. Including I have a British bus stop poster.
Wow.
So massive, meant to be on the side, backlit bus stop poster. Says like avoid the Nightmare Before Christmas, shop at, I forget the name of the shopping center or whatever, but so it's got that commercial tie into it and stuff. Couple, I got British quads, I got French posters, I've got Spanish posters, Brazil, Portugal, Spain, Germany.
Wow.
I've got 3D lenticular poster from when they re-released the movie. I've got several that aren't even framed and up because I ran out of wall space, like an Italian and stuff. And you probably know some of these, like the French movie posters are not small.
No, I can imagine now
they're almost the same size as your bus stop posters.
Wow.
So I mean, trying to get them framed is not easy. It's not cheap. And then once they are framed, you need
the space to put them.
You need a cargo van or something to transport them.
Wow.
You don't just put it in your back seat of your car. So yeah, transport them is stuff. But yeah, I got these things throughout the house, and then there's all the Funkos I have are all Nightmare Before Christmas Funkos. And I've run out of space officially for them, so I've stopped picking up new ones finally.
What is the dare I say obsession with
Nightmare Before Christmas?
Yeah.
I don't know. It was just a movie that really kind of spoke to me, that had, I kind of was when I was growing up, I was never fancied myself necessarily the traditional individual. Like I liked alternative. I was into the dark wave, the gothic industrial music scenes.
Okay.
I'm not a traditional religious individual. I liked kind of mix and match stuff. I liked a lot of Tim Burton stuff, and the story of Jack, beyond just simply, it's just of doing something ludicrous and trying it and then failing, despite everybody telling you this is a bad idea, and then failing at it epically.
Yeah.
And needing some people to rally around you and bring you back and stuff. I did a lot of foolish things when I was younger, and so it all kind of connects. The movie really connects, especially a lot to me, that for my wife and I. Matter of fact, I have a tattoo. One of the tattoos I have, and it's not going to show up well, but I have this big tattoo. It's a Nightmare Before Christmas. Jesus, it's not going to. But it's like
yeah, I can see Oogie Boogie. Is that?
Yeah, it's Oogie Boogie and
Sally
Jack and Jack.
Jack.
So it's a tarot card of the lovers, and in the lovers tarot card, the Fool, who does a lot of stupid shit, and he's got a decision to make and stuff, and there's the person who tries to bring him on the right path and stuff, and it represents my wife and I, and my wife was my anchor that brought me back and helped from being a silly goofball and doing stupid stuff type things. So there's all that kind of connection stuff. It just kind of really spoke to me, and so that's how it kind of be. And then from there, I mean, there's people know that I'm into it. So then I would get given
gifts,
all these little things, right? So you end up with like, little figurines and
Pens and
books
stuff like
and
that.
and shot glasses and
Yeah.
whatnot. And then for a bit, I would start picking up like Monopoly made like a billion different versions. So you'd have the Monopoly, and the next thing you know, it's like, oh, there was an Oogie Boogie version of Operation. Let me get that. And then there was a Night Before Christmas version of Clue. Oh, I want that. And a version of chess and a version of Trivial Pursuit and a version of Yahtzee and a version of, so next thing you know, I've got a whole pile of games that are all Nightmare Before Christmas themed stuff too. So it's just been a thing.
So you mentioned earlier that you're big on video games. Was there did you ever play a game called Kingdom Hearts? Because they had like no. So Kingdom Hearts is like an RPG, like similar in the vein to, it's more action RPG, but it's the people who did like Final Fantasy games, but it was a Disney licensed, so the story was based around Disney characters, where they like their characters slipped over into like Disney different universes, and one of the levels was A Nightmare Before Christmas. And it was one of my favorite parts of the game.
I should preface when I say I was into video games.
Oh, you just meant Star Wars online games.
Yeah, I mean, aside from that, I was an Atari 2600 kid.
Okay.
And then I played wrestling games with the N64 when I was an adult. But otherwise, I played those 2 Star Wars online games for years.
Okay.
Dabbled every once in a while with, like, in between games, let me try Lotro or let me try this. Didn't like them. It wasn't my bag. I was out.
Oh, okay. Cool. That's cool.
Yeah. Tabletop games a little bit more different. Hit me up. We'll play some Axis and Allies. You want to do rock and roll, baby. You want to play some Settlers of Catan.
Catan's good. Great game.
Yeah, Catan's great game. Love it. Yeah, I like tabletop games. Yeah.
Yeah, same. We're big fans of board games here. If there's a really good board game that we like to get into, but so we're 2 hours and 17 minutes.
We're just getting warmed up. Buckle up, kids.
We've come to the last question, really. But the last question, Rob, is what's next for you and your channel? What do you think is going to, the next year or so? What are you hoping to achieve? What are your aims?
I have zero aims or goals for what I'm trying to do. I'm just showing up and doing what I do, and I don't envision changing that dramatically.
No.
I'm very comfortable with what the channel is and does. I'm not trying to make it anything different than that. Right now, to me, the channel is more important to me now than it used to be, only in that as I've made Comics Curing Cancer my primary philanthropy element of what I do outside of work. The channel, what the channel does, the fact that we utilize that channel revenue to support the Comics Curing Cancer, to talk about Comics Curing Cancer year round, to allow us to ship stuff globally and everything.
Yeah.
That is most important to me from the channel is maintaining that so that we can continue the work that we do with Comics Curing Cancer, because where Comics Curing Cancer is today, the first year that I took it over, the channel wasn't monetized. We weren't doing that stuff. The way that with everybody making payments directly to American Cancer Society, there's no way for us to collect revenue to pay for shipping.
Yeah, of course.
So shipping was 100% out of my pocket. And that first year that we did it, the shipping bill was around it was about $1,600 or so, $1,700, something like that.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money to suddenly pay out of pocket. And on top of everything else I had already bought for Comics Curing Cancer and everything else. And so after that, we changed what the channel, the channel went revenue went live, and I talked to a bunch of people, and a lot of people said, yeah, we'll just make the channel revenue pay for it. People were cool with that. So we made an announcement to channel members and said, hey, because I think at that time, actually, I was taking the money every month and just depositing it directly into the Comics Curing Cancer thing. And so we made an announcement to all the channel members at the time and said, hey, look, here's the deal. We're no longer going to make the direct deposit in there. Instead, it's going to be held. We're going to utilize it to pay for our shipping expenses and our material expenses, because we do have to buy boxes and stuff to ship the stuff out, all the stuff that the logistics that ties to that. And then after that, whatever's left over gets donated at the end of the year.
Okay.
Last year, thanks to everybody. I mean, look, the shipping bill was about $2,700 or more by the time we factored in everybody and our expenses. And then from there, we still had about $600 or almost just under $600 was donated from the leftover revenue to there. So it's really is tremendously helpful in allowing us to do what we're doing. Because if we didn't have that to cover those expenses, we wouldn't be able to continue to raise the game on what we're doing, and we would have to throttle back what we're doing because we couldn't really afford to do it. So it's tremendous. And from that aspect, I'm really happy with everybody's dedication and helping out, and the super chat battles that go on on that thing of getting those in, so that we do have that revenue that we can do this stuff and try to get the biggest donation still at the end of the year in there. Because nothing carries over. It all goes in there. If I carry it over, then there's tax ramifications. I don't want.
Yeah, you don't want that. That's
right.
But do you not worry that you, like, with everything you've got going on, obviously with your channel, with Comics Curing Cancer, with the Comic Book Fiend Club, and they're not being, sponsoring the Comic Book Community Awards, which you did in the past?
I don't do that anymore, though.
Yeah. Do you feel like you might have a bit too much on your plate? I'm not talking about barbecue food here. I'm talking about don't want you to suffer like any sort of burnout. Or
yeah, but I think that's balancing what you're going to do and what you do is important. And that's where I think that when I talk about the channel, where I'm happy with what I'm doing, with the 2 to 3 videos or 1 to 2 recorded videos and then a live stream a week, it's just enough.
Yeah,
that I think it goes there, and it does allow me to have that balance. My kids are grown, so I don't need to, I don't need to spend. I'm not having to spend time doing a lot of stuff with them. They take off, and hell, I barely even know they're here. I don't know if they are here right now.
Do they use the place like a hotel? Is that what they?
Well, my youngest is away at university. They're just home for spring break this week.
Yeah.
So they don't live here most of the year. My oldest is only here right now. He recently graduated and he's trying to find a job. And while he's actively searching for a job, we're allowing him to pay cheap rent here. So but that doesn't even cover his food. Doesn't even cover his food budget. But at least he has to pay something because look, this isn't a free place to live. Get a job.
Teaching them about responsibility and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So, from that aspect, it's just me and my wife and I. We've always maintained our own geekdoms, our own time. We go off and do our own things all the time.
Yeah,
and we have our time together for us and stuff. So I think I have a fair amount of this. They help out when it comes time for Comics Curing Cancer tremendously. Some people have even I've had some conversations. Some people were asking about stuff. They watch the videos and they're like, oh, you're just sit there the whole time and stuff just keeps coming and you don't look like you have that much space. And I'm like, oh yeah, no, like on the other side of this monitor there were like folding tables set up in the living room with everything laid out in order of certain things, and my wife would come and hand from behind the monitor and hand me stuff from one side, and then as stuff was sold I'd be labeling it and handing it off, and she's taking it off over there throughout the entire show. Throughout my son spent time with me helping pick orders together and pack everything and put packages together and everything. So it becomes it's a family thing as well now at this point, in order just to make it happen logistically. So
that's great.
I'm pretty happy with the balance on it.
Well, Rob, you have been a absolute fantastic guest, a true gentleman, and an absolutely standout member of the comic book community. I'm so proud to have you on the channel to talk about comics curing cancer and everything that you honestly.
I'm extremely happy to have been invited to join you. I love watching your interviews.
Thank you.
And so it's always a pleasure when you think to yourself, oh, one day, and then you get that call. You go,
no, I appreciate you.
I made it now.
Whereas John Comics with kids said, yeah, but no, I appreciate it. It really, you've been fantastic. Just want to give a shout out to my moderators. So JSS Brooklyn has been absolutely on it tonight, putting out links for various different channels and for the comics curing cancer, and Mike, Cecilia, and my wife Gemma. But thank you guys for that. I really appreciate you guys. We've got a late joiner. Thank you for Haroon Khan for stepping in. Really appreciate you. We're just finishing the guys. Oh, really interesting, enjoyable stream. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. But yeah, Rob, thank you so much. Anybody, if you've got time, please go and check out Rob's channel. Fantastic channel. Really one of my favorites. It only slabs an amazing live stream that's every Saturday.
Just about. There's a few that I won't have a show next Saturday, ironically.
You were at the con,
WonderCon, yeah. So there's a couple, like 2 to 3 times a year. I won't do a show because I'm at a con. There's going to be a time I don't do a show in July on the 3rd Saturday in July, because that's my annual cookout. And then like there won't be one at the end of April because my wife and I are going on a vacation.
How dare you?
So I know. So there's probably about half a dozen times during the year that I take a Saturday off for that stuff. But otherwise, I miss a lot of conventions, local cons that are only on Saturday, because the show's on Saturday. And I went to school to study radio and television and film. That's what I studied. So scheduling and adhering to a schedule and having your audience be able to do it. That is what's ingrained in my head. And so that's the mentality of like, okay, well, this is what I do. This is the show. It's the most important thing over on my weekend, usually.
Yeah.
So that's that. The rest of my life revolves around the Saturday show.
Oh, that's amazing. But a fantastic show. Thank you everybody who's been watching this evening or afternoon. You've been a great audience. Really appreciate the comments and the questions for Rob. And yeah, it's I feel like it's been a fantastic stream for me. So thank you so much, Rob. And we'll see you guys next time, I guess.
Indeed.
Take care, everybody. Thank you so much. And don't forget, please, if you can, donate anything you can to Comics Curing Cancer. Fantastic cause. And it will be in the 3rd week of October. So best of luck.
The big virtual event. It's going on all year.
But it goes on all year. Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you want to get yourself a hold of some great art or great comics, definitely check it out. Thank you so much.
Follow us on Instagram.
Yes.
Or Facebook at Comics Curing Cancer. You'll get all the updates throughout the year, especially when our art book goes on sale. If we end up with an exclusive, when that goes on sale, all those things, we disseminate the information through Instagram and Facebook.
Brilliant. That's great. We've got KDBM in the house joining us just as we leave. Rob rules, definitely. Everyone's saying great show tonight, Rob. Thank you for coming on and sharing it with us. Great show, fellas. Thank you for the stream. Great show from Cliff. Thanks for a great interview from Dr. Von Hoot. But I really appreciate everyone, JSS. Thank you very much as well. But yeah, we'll see you guys next time, and I'll play the outro now. See you guys. Bye-bye.